Do you own a head cam? I was just going to say. Oh, this is a big issue. No, actually, we did contemplate using head cams, but honestly, there's too much IR feedback. That's great for shows where you send one poor teenager into a tunnel so he can pee his pants and no one's looking. That works great, but when you have the IR cameras of the crew and your own DVR cameras, and then you incorporate, you incorporate head cams, it's just this way too much IR light. Now all you'd see is a big bright white light for the whole show. I mean, you think you can't see stuff now. Put a head cam on, you won't see anything. Honestly, we're lucky for what we catch because even though they say stuff happens here, paranormal activity can happen anywhere. You just gotta hope you know your techniques and your instincts are right, and you've got to point in the right place at the right time. It's really tough. That's my answer, Tango.
I agree. Thank you. He gets the biggest laughs and he says about 5 words per minute. It's hilarious.
It's the hat.
Hey Graham, I know yesterday you were telling the panel that you're going to be getting some new equipment. And you mentioned that some of the equipment is going to be picking up seismic activity. There's a lot of stuff that happens before and during an earthquake, like electromagnetic fields and that. Is that what you're looking for, or are you just looking to see whether maybe there was a small microquake and that's what knocked the chair over?
Well, there are things that we have theories on, and instruments like that will give us answers, like ultra low frequency, a really, really low tone. The government's actually experimented with as non-lethal weaponry to just make everyone sick. And it actually can create hallucinations and stuff like that. So we want to take all these things into consideration. So when paranormal activity happens, I mean, we have suspicions that geological phenomena can cause it. We know already that usually when paranormal activity occurs, if there's a barometric pressure drop or air pressure increase, and you can tell that's happening if you have like an old football injury or whatever, it acts up, or you feel like a tightening of the chest, or like your ears are going to pop. So we want to just validate these things. We want to factor everything in so that if Tango's walking around and he sees a ghost, we can then go back to that time period and see exactly what's going on. Barometric pressure, seismic activity, you name it. So that's what we're going for.
One of the things that we test for on GHI, which I think may air maybe in one episode, they don't show it too often because it's not too exciting, but like Grant was referring to the ultra low sounds, infrasound. We try to measure that activity because, especially where we are with castles and stuff, that carries very, very well. And you guys have seen South Park? I'm sure somebody's seen South Park, right? The whole Brownout episode. That's pretty much what that was commenting on. But NASA has actually found out there's a certain level. I want to say it's 9, but it could be just because I like the number. But it actually will make the corner of your eye quiver. And they've done tests, and you know, a lot of people, we run into places all the time where people say, oh, I saw it out of the corner of my eye. If there is infrasound present, it will make your eyeball quiver, and it makes it look like there's like an object or a shape moving. So that's something that, you know, we test for.
Yeah, we've actually tested the whole EMF thing too. There's a gentleman that makes a headset that you can put on, and it puts high EMF fields right on your temple. You turn that on, and all of a sudden you see shadows and all sorts of crazy things. So.
There's actually a machine, actually Barry Fitzgerald told me about it. It's called the Hutchinson effect. Hutchinson effect, and it's really interesting because it recreates basically poltergeist activity, and it's sporadic, and that's EM pollution itself, like geological stuff, you know. So that's really interesting, and like the person has to be in the room, which again, that's like poltergeist activity. It was always on someone, the host. So that's interesting to me.
That's a good one, Tango. You get him in the next room.
So what's some of the most shocking evidence like you've ever seen? Like stuff that just makes you go like, whoa.
Well, on the show, yeah. Well, I mean, what you see on the show is what we've experienced, but outside of the show, when we have high client confidentiality, so can't really say too much. But when you're not on TV, you can investigate more amazing claims. because people are putting less of themselves out there. We've seen furniture slide across the floor. In the one case, we had a trainee with us, and we had cameras set up. We had enough equipment to cover every room but one. So we weren't getting anything. And so we're like, oh, let's go check out this other room. So open the door, and there's what looks like a shadow lifted off the wall with kind of a heat wave effect. We're like, okay. The trainee was screaming. And she kind of backed up against the railing that was there, and Jay and I went in, and were able to put our arm through this. And it was very cold and made our hair stand up, very static, electrical feel to it. And then it blew past us, right past the trainee, who about passed out. So that was probably a once-in-a-lifetime experience. But yeah, we've had furniture slide all over the place. You name it, whole house growl. I don't know. There's too many. A lot of weird stuff. That's me.
There's actually something I didn't see personally, but I would have loved to see. It's one of my favorite stories. Steve had told me an investigation that he had worked on. He saw a cat get dragged backwards across the floor, which I just can't picture. I just think it would look hilarious because cats are very upset when you touch them in the first place. So he's seen some weird stuff too. Yeah.
Hi, I'd like to ask two, if I may. One is, why do y'all go lights out whenever y'all get onto a location? Because a lot of times the homeowners are seeing things in the daytime with the lights on, so what is the purpose of going lights out? And two, normally when y'all are on the show, when y'all do catch something, it normally does not seem to be ill-intentioned. And so does y'all's experience really indicate that most of the ghosts are not ill-intentioned?
Okay, well, the first question, honestly, we do investigations during the day. Honestly, if all the reports are during the day, there's no point really sticking around at night. Although we may investigate at night as well, because that's when the people aren't used to it. Maybe the ghosts come run around and play, we don't know. But the reason we go lights out is not for the spooky effect. It's because what we capture usually is like a shadowy figure or something that emits its own light. So if you turn off all the lights and use infrared, you're going to catch all that. If you had the lights on, you wouldn't catch the faint lights. If you had just the lights off and using a regular camera, you wouldn't catch anything. So that's that. And the second one was, what was the question?
Are there less ghosts that are ill-intentioned?
Right. Well, look at this. We can all sit in this room together and no one's like punching each other or scratching each other. You got to remember, a ghost is just a person without a body. It had a family, probably a job, ambitions, addictions, whatever. We got to treat them like people. Ghosts are people too, right? So, normal people, just humans, are just normally, pretty nice. Rarely do you meet an evil person, and usually they don't come back afterwards. Depends on your religious belief, who knows where they go.
This isn't really a ghost question, more of a, do you guys have any other talents besides hunting ghosts? And if you do, can you demonstrate any of them?
I see what you're having here.
I'm thinking next year we've got to do the Guitar Hero.
Oh yeah. Rock band. Tango's got something.
Tango, you knew where this was going, didn't you? Okay.
David Bowie, eat your heart out. Yeah, right. He's here till Monday. Anybody else, Dustin?
I have incredibly good hair. You've got me this far in life.
I write songs on the piano and the guitar, and I like to draw. And I guess maybe you've heard some. You haven't heard it yet, and you're really excited. But yeah, I draw and write and stuff like that. I can't do that.